Okay, this is James Hunt. I'm going to do a video on Sasquatch encounters last couple of weeks. I was at the North Cascades last weekend and this weekend. Last Monday, I took work off, so I was there Sunday and Monday. And Sunday night, I went up there and was Sunday evening, and the camp spots I was familiar with were all full on a Sunday evening. I was like, what? And so I ended up going to an East Creek Trailhead parking lot, which was empty, and I was going to sleep in my car for a while. And so I was sleeping in the car, and I could hear something outside fiddling with my trunk, like trying to open my trunk. And my point is that, so before I went to sleep in my car, I had my trunk open to get all sorts of supplies and all that. So I'm saying that Sasquatches were probably watching me. That's how they were trying to fiddle with my trunk after I had gone to sleep. It must have been 8 o'clock or so. I don't think it was very late. But, I'm laying there in the back seat with my head up against the back door on the right side. I'm right there, and so I don't have any earplugs in, so I can hear everything, and I hear it's fiddling with the trunk. So that was my conclusion. And then I forget exactly what happened, but I didn't want to stay there in my car the whole night. And so I ended up driving because it was snowing, and I like driving in the snow because I like the way the flakes go onto your windshield like that. Anyway, so I'm driving over the mountains. I ended up in a town called Winthrop. I didn't exactly, well, the sign said 14 miles to Winthrop, and I just had time to kill, I didn't have a campground, so I was basically just enjoying the night. And I drive and drive and drive and drive, and it's like, goodness sakes, I feel like I'm driving to Spokane. And it's just like, okay. And finally I pull over and I try to use Google Maps. It's like, where am I? And thankfully I was 2 miles short of Winthrop. So I get to Winthrop, it's all shut down. But thankfully the Chevron gas station still had their pumps on, so I filled up my tank with gas, because it's 70 miles from each side of the island, the mountains, North Cascades from one side to the other, so I didn't want to get stuck without any fuel, so I was able to fill up the tank. And then I had all my camping supplies with me, so I just sat there in the town. It's like an old west town, like you're back in time with the horses and all that. Tie up your horse to the post. So it's like 2 o'clock in the morning by now, and I made myself a cup of coffee, had a donut, just relaxing in town, and these 4 deer come walking like 50 feet away from me right through town. It's pretty funny, like 2 in the morning. And so anyways, I drove back, and they had a bunch of camp spots on the eastern side of the mountains. So I ended up finding a campground that wasn't full, and I slept in my car again. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't feel like setting up my tent at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just jumped in the back seat again. And I slept till light. I wanted to sleep till light. And so I got up about 6 or 7, probably closer to 7 because it was light. And I drove up to the mountains again. They had the snow plows and everything, they're on it. And so I ended up going back to East Creek Trailhead again. I don't know why. They have a good restroom. The restrooms are clean, that helps. And so I ended up at East Creek again. and I felt lousy, hadn't slept very well. I didn't feel like hiking, and so I went back to bed in the back of my car. And then the Sasquatch encounter's strange. I'm got my head against the side of the passenger back door again, and I hear these cowbells right outside of my window, like within a foot. I'm like, what? This is really paranormal now. And now that I think back on it, the Sasquatch must have the ability to go into my trunk and grab my cowbells. That's all I can figure. You know, I'm not hearing things, so kind of interesting. And I don't like get up and try to do anything. You know, hey buddy, how you doing? No, it's not like that. You know, I just let them do their thing. You know, I mean, most of the time they're invisible anyway, so I'm just wasting my time. I have seen a young Sasquatch at night in the summertime at Hope Lake up by Stevens Pass. It was a young one. I only had a screen on my tent. I didn't have the cover on because there wasn't any rain. It was a hot summer evening, and like I said many times in other videos, they like to hang out with you. They're social, they're friendly. I never had anybody, you know, being totally mean. Anyway, so I woke up like 3 times that night, and all 3 times I saw a shadowy figure walking around my camp, and there was actually 2 Pacific Crest Trail hikers sleeping 30 feet away from me down by the lake because they needed a place to stay. But the 3rd time especially, I woke up, I just sit up in my tent, take a look around, have a drink of water, and there was a young Sasquatch just staring me down right there, you know, hunched over, just checking me out. I didn't see any eye shine or nothing, just a shadowy figure, and not really big either. I hear they don't get their bulk until they're older. Anyway, so I'm just saying I have seen them, and I thought I've seen another one at a distance up on Hurricane Ridge this August. I was hiking after sunset, and I thought I saw a big guy from like almost a mile away, but you know, like I said, it was a mile away. I can't be 100% sure, but my attitude is I just leave them be. It's like I'm not going to get all, oh my God, you know. We know they're real, so it's nothing to get excited about. Just enjoy. I mean, just like a bear or a mountain lion, whatever. They live in the forest. As you can tell from my stories, there's tons of them here in the Northwest. So, anyways, back to my story. That was really trippy. The cowbells outside my window. That must have been like 9 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody there at that trailhead because the bridge is washed out. It's not a popular trail. And they haven't fixed it for some reason. But anyway, so that was really paranormal. I'm like, what the? That's getting serious there, you know. Anyway, so I slept and I slept and I slept and I slept. I slept till, I don't know, 2 in the afternoon. That was last weekend. And ended up hiking a fun hike up East Creek. It's kind of a butt kicker, actually. They have a bridge that somebody made that's like 100 yards down from the washed out one, but it's not safe. There's no railing and it's easy to fall in the water. But it's a butt kicker trail. You have to walk up a mountain like, I don't know, 1,000 feet. So for an old guy like me, it's huffer and puffer. And then you walk pretty gradually into the valley, which was pretty, so made it worthwhile. And then when I came back down, that was Monday evening, I just walked right through the creek with my walking stick. You got to have a big, solid walking stick, or you can use a aluminum trekking pole, but it might, you know, bend or break. You got to have something really strong for balance. I got wet all the way up to my bum, you know, but I was right at the trailhead, so it didn't matter. I just changed my clothes. Okay, so that was last weekend. And this weekend I went up there again, Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday night I went to Easy Pass trailhead. I had a fun hike at Easy Pass. It's a 2-mile hike through the forest, and then there's a clearing where you get the nice mountain views, some meadow views before you have to go up to Easy Pass. But I just turned around because I wasn't into getting my butt kicked going up there. I didn't want to do that. It was getting late in the day anyway, so I had a fun hike. That was Saturday night, easy pass, and I had set up my tent at East Creek because I found that there was campgrounds at East Creek Trailhead. So yeah, I went for a hike at Easy Pass Saturday, and then well, first I set up my tent, and then I went to Easy Pass, had a good hike. Then I went back to East Creek, and there was a man from Tacoma with his dogs. They were hanging out there. I saw them both times as I was setting up my tent, and later he was still there. So he slept in his truck with his dogs. So I just sat on the picnic table, enjoyed some dinner after sunset before it got dark, and just relaxed. There was actually a bat that was flying around hanging out with me for a little bit. That was pretty cool. Little bat. Then I just went down to my tent, and I couldn't really sleep very well. I had my rain cover on just in case it rained because there was a lot of clouds. But then it got cold really quick, so I just closed the rain cover over. It also keeps you warmer. And sure enough, about 15 minutes later, I think it was, I wasn't sleeping. I was just laying there. These huge earthquake footsteps, just boom, 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 all over, my area where I was. And I had my little lantern that shines. I don't like sleeping in the dark in case some animal's really close. I like to see a little bit. And so I have my lantern outside of my tent, so that gives away my location. So, from my experience, that's like a 10-foot tall Sasquatch. Who knows how much they weigh, 1,000 pounds. But there was probably a couple of them. But those earthquake, you're laying in your tent. All you have is your sleeping pad and your sleeping bag and your pillow, whatever. You can feel the ground totally. So anyways, I just feel these big old earthquakes. Like, okay, these guys are checking me out because I got my light on. It gives away my position. And it's, once again, I don't like open up my tent and say, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Because most of the time they're freaking invisible anyways. I've had these experiences, a handful of times, and I've never seen them. They're always in a different dimension or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, my point is they were there, just checking me out. They don't say anything. I didn't hear any breathing or nothing. I just hear the footsteps. That gives them away because they're so friggin' huge. If you research Sasquatches over the 100 years or whatever, people always refer to them, Indians or whatever. They always refer to them as being giants. That's what they are. They're friggin' huge. We're talking a 10-foot huge, the most powerful creature on the planet. Pretty huge. You're lucky they're not violent. Anyway, so that was last night. I slept until 2:30 this afternoon. I finally went to sleep late. I couldn't sleep until late. And I'm the kind of backpacker that's like, I just like sleeping. Sometimes I'll sleep till 2 in the afternoon. It's like I'm the only guy there. I heard a couple of hikers go past me probably at 11 in the morning or so. But it's a real quiet place, and sometimes I just stay in my tent and sleep, lazy or whatever. Like I slept till 2:30 today. I just stayed in my tent and just snoozed. I finally got up and had and the nice thing about the North Cascades is they got some camp spots right next to your car, right at the trailhead. You have to walk just a little bit, so it's like you can just keep a lot of your stuff in your car, and you can bring a whole bunch more stuff to your tent. Like I had extra sleeping bag, extra blanket. I was cozy. Extra sleeping pad. I had 2 sleeping pads. And so yeah, I finally got up late and enjoyed some coffee on the picnic table there. It wasn't raining. It was a beautiful day. It wasn't really sunny, but it was, for the North Cascades, it's nice if it's not like stormy. So I enjoyed the coffee, just one cup of coffee, a couple scones, a couple small scones. And then I wasn't really planning on going hiking again. And but an hour later I got in the mood because it's good exercise and I need the exercise. So I ended up driving to a trailhead. I was going to go home, but then I was open-minded about taking a hike, and then I went to Canyon Creek Trailhead. I wanted to do something that wasn't like a big old mountain. I wanted to do something that was not really you know, a big climb. I just wanted an easy hike, and I went to Canyon Creek along Highway 20, and the bridge is washed out. So there goes that idea. So, but they have these maps on the trailheads, pretty good. So they referred me to a East Bank trailhead, which is only a mile or so west from there. So I drove to East Bank, and I was in the mood for a hike by then. It was like 4 in the afternoon, 4:30, and so I read the sign, and it was a pretty level hike. So I packed, and I pack a strong flashlight, 2,000 lumens in case I come back at dark, and a down jacket and a hat. I even had some gloves because you never know if you're going to get injured. You got to be prepared for whatever happens. And so I hiked 3 miles west on the East Bank Trail. There's a few different names, but and then I turned around. It was just forest, but it was pretty with the autumn colors, lots of yellows, really nice. Easy hike too. So that was 6 miles. So that was what I did. I just got home. So those are some Sasquatch tales. Yeah, they're all over the place. That was last weekend and this weekend. So, anyways, that's it. Good night. Take care.